Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Charm City Sideline Podcast. We've got a training camp update, some news for you guys, topics from the week. I'm here with Brad to talk about it today. Brad was actually a guest on the Purple Rain podcast with our friends Sutton and Alex. Brad, what's going on, man?
What's up, Zach? Good to be back. Feels like it's been a while since it was just us two on a pod.
That's true.
So it's always fun to get back to that. I was on with Sutton and Alex on the Purple Rain podcast a few days ago talking training camp. If anyone's not subscribed to them, go subscribe. They got great stuff over there. Yeah, that was fun, man. We're getting really close. I mean, we already had the Hall of Fame game, which is, boring after a few minutes.
Yeah.
But I guess Trey Lance added some excitement. The Lions offense was not fun to watch at all. But yeah, it's been cool, man. And we're 4 or 5 days away from a Ravens preseason game. We're about 4.5 weeks away from the Ravens' first game of the season. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, man. Chris, good morning. Yeah, we have a little early podcast for you guys today. A little early show. But yeah, I mean, we can just get into probably the biggest topic, right? I mean, just to start off, really, this whole thing.
Yeah.
Likely being injured is the biggest news, maybe of the offseason, as in a key component of the team, and possibly losing them the first 2 weeks in the worst case scenario for 3 weeks. I don't know. It's looking bad, Brad.
Yeah. So I was talking to Sutton and Alex about this. I saw one of those, TikTok fantasy football doctors who was talking about the likely injury, who, like, I will say they obviously do know a lot more than we do. Like, they are real doctors. They just also have a TikTok account. So they seem a little less credible just because they're posting on TikTok. But he basically said that he's pretty sure it's something called a pseudo-Jones fracture because of the timeline. So there's only so many different foot injuries and timelines that go with it. So you can kind of guess what the injury is. It's like one of the outermost bones of your foot, and he's gonna have to get a screw in his foot. And I'm assuming he's already had surgery. I think he posted on Instagram and Twitter that he's ready to go, gonna start rehab.
Mm-hmm.
The average recovery timeline for this specific injury for tight ends is 8.7 weeks. So that would put you at, early October. So I'm thinking a return at the earliest, probably week 4. I would guess if I had to put money on it, I'd say he comes back week 5. So I think this could be a situation, Zach, where maybe they put it, now that you can have someone on IR for just 4 weeks if you want to. I think they could put him on IR for the first 4 games, play the Texans week 5, unless he just recovers faster than the average, recovery timeline for this injury, which is possible. But at the same time, you want likely to be healthy in January, not so much September.
Mm-hmm. That's really the whole problem. And I mean, whenever you talk about all the drama that surrounds Andrews, I have a point about him that we can get to in a second. Mm-hmm. Andrews and now really the whole conversation of the offseason being can likely be passed the torch. Is if this is Andrews' last season, can likely take over and possibly show that the whole year. That is what my concern is, if he actually gets that production, or if it's just the same thing as usual. If Andrews is an elite tight end and likely is kind of swept under the rug, underrated wise. But to kind of shift a little bit of the topic, Andrews was asked this week about the season possibly being his last on the Ravens. He's just not looking too far ahead. The cliche answer, smart guy, good guy answer. But talking about how Lamar always had his back, I felt like that was a weird thing to mention in that kind of a question. But maybe just saying that he's understanding that this is probably his last season with the Ravens, plus the only way that he would come back is if, maybe the deal was right, and the fact that the whole team was also begging for that kind of thing to stay. Like something that you see sadly on a different scale, but like with Micah Parsons right now, his trade request, all of his teammates are like changing their profile pictures to him. Like,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. So I don't know if he's like asking for something like that, maybe support of the team. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but either way, me as our podcast Mark Andrews supporter, I definitely got a little punch to the gut reading all that, because that kind of sucks.
Yeah. You're probably one of the biggest Mark Andrews fans in the Ravens fan base. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, now it's the flip is completely switched now because it's going to be Andrews and Kolar, in my opinion, for at least 4 weeks. And, Andrews is going to have an opportunity to have a revenge game against the Bills week 1 as basically, obviously the starting tight end. It's just going to be Kolar. Um, So it does change a little bit because I think the Ravens were about to extend Isaiah Likely. There was rumors the morning that he got injured, and I think it just hadn't been signed yet, and the Ravens were probably like,
let's wait, actually. Which is horrifying. Oh my gosh. Jeez, dude. For Likely, it's got to be awful.
Yeah, so everything kind of changes a little bit, at least for the present. And even when Likely does come back, it'd probably be a bit of a slower start. And so you're probably looking at Andrews having at least, 4 to 6 weeks of being solidified as the tight end 1. So we'll see how that sort of plays out over the rest of the season. As we just got some news, Zach. From Jeff Zrebeck, the Ravens have waived undrafted free agent John Hoyland.
Oh,
so do you want to shift to that real quick?
I guess. Wow.
Kicking battle's over? Does that tell you that, I guess, so has Tyler Loop already won the kicking battle in early August?
It sounds like that. Plus, it sounds like, to me, you draft the guy. So, he's probably going to be your kicker. They're going to give him, 80-20% chance to win it no matter what. Even if Hoyland came in there and looked like the next all-time great kicker, it's still going to be really rough. So spending, a pick on him automatically gives him an advantage. But I do love that. I love that he wins the battle this early. Give him as much time in this preseason to be kicker number 1. Have the confidence of all your teammates, really, for the next few weeks before the regular season.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So the tweet from Jeff Zrebeck basically is just saying that, this means the rookie 6th-round pick Tyler Loop is the lone kicker in the building. It allows Loop to get all the practice and preseason reps, like you said, Zach. And yeah, it's an interesting thought. Is there no pressure now? You know what I mean? Maybe did they want to take some pressure off of him?
Yeah, maybe.
Or are they just sort of being, willing to commit to him and they sort of believe in him? I'd say that's a little interesting, but because I think this was going to be sort of supposed to be a story all of training camp, this sort of the kicking battle. Now it's just going to be hoping that Tyler Loop is making all his kicks.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, the confidence that they have in him. If they think that the rest of this preseason he can knock it out of the park. I think just all of training camp, I've been seeing stuff where he had perfect days or great days. And that also builds confidence just as a fan, but I'm sure in the building it was a lift of pressure and definitely seeing that your selection, an actual draft pick that you spent on a guy, you're giving him the chance, at least for this season, it sounds like.
Yeah. And so I think Loop has had maybe 1 or 2 bad days going back all the way to rookie minicamp,
right?
Which is not much for a rookie kicker. Something that I will say about the kicking situation, and everyone is like, oh, this is going to be the reason we, don't win a playoff game or don't win the Super Bowl or whatever. Justin Tucker was statistically, I think, the 35th best kicker in the NFL last year. For anyone that doesn't know, there's 32 teams. So, and that's just based off of field goal percentage. So Tucker was really, really bad last year. So if Tyler Loop is, the 24th best kicker in the NFL, it's an improvement over last year. So with all the, talk about are the Ravens finally going to be in, kicking hell or whatever, it's going to be better than last year, most likely. So I think that can sort of ease the worry a little bit.
And almost to counter what you just said, I'm also a little concerned as in still the late, coming January, coming December, needing to win some games. Like the beginning of last year with Tucker was a nightmare. And being honest, he figured it out. He definitely did. He was making kicks by the end of the year. It felt like it was the same old stuff by playoff time too. It was important. So personally, I felt pretty comfortable with him until all this, drama starts breaking out over the offseason and kind of is the final straw. So I think that a rookie kicker, no matter what's going to make you nervous. But I think whenever Ryan said it last pod, when we talk about a kicking battle for a rookie, it just helps. It'll help him. And overall, I think that if they were picking this guy with an actual draft selection, they got to be pretty high on him overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just think if Tyler Loop has a really good year, like I don't think I'm going to be too concerned about like a second quarter kick in like the divisional round. I think you would already be like sort of past worrying about that. And like Justin Tucker probably lost the Ravens 2 games last year. I think the first Steelers loss and then the Eagles game, obviously. I mean, I think he missed like 7 or 8 points of kicks in that one. So we'll see how Loop does. And it was funny when we had Ryan Ripken on, and I think you mentioned it, Zach, or maybe he did. Like Sunday Night Football, fourth quarter, Ravens down 3. Tyler Loop's coming out for a 47-yard field goal in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really going to be based off of like, does he hit that or not? You know what I mean? Is how we're going to feel going from there.
Chris has a great comment here. Yeah. We just have to play like we're not relying on field goals. The team is good enough to score and take the pressure off. And that's something Lamar has even stressed in pressers and saying that the team is 100% good enough and capable of scoring every drive. That might be his cockiness and it might be, how good they are. But also, if there was a lot of, I think, a couple of missed opportunities, even adding to how great the team was red zone percentage wise. So I'm sure they're going to be working on that. It only gets better whenever Likely comes back, and it only gets better adding DeAndre Hopkins as well. So feel good about it.
Yeah, there's this whole talk about should teams even be kicking field goals or punting? Should teams just go for it every fourth down?
Ooh.
And there are some analytics that back that up. So we'll see how that goes. And one last thing on Loop. I wonder if the Ravens, let's say it's the first quarter against the Bills. I wonder, and let's say they have 4th and 4 at the 39. I wonder if instead of sending out Loop for his first field goal ever to be a 55-yarder, I wonder if they just go for that. You know what I mean? Maybe they want his first couple field goals to be shorter, and maybe they just will trust him and throw him out there, but maybe not. So we'll see.
I actually really like that. That sounds smart. That sounds like John Harbaugh. That's exactly what that is. Something I just wanted to bring up because I think it's an interesting topic. ESPN First Take this whole week talking about most talented quarterback in the NFL. Stephen A was very vocal saying it was Lamar. Mike Tannenbaum, former NFL GM, was the only one that was really the opposite. He was saying Jordan Love. I don't really know. I love Jordan Love. I don't know where you get that over picking someone like Mahomes, something like, I don't know. So another part of that whole conversation was how important is it for Lamar to reach a Super Bowl? The every time First Take kind of questions. But either one of those, Brad, do you have any thoughts on maybe the confidence of them saying that, or if I like that comment from Chris. If Mike is just a goof.
Yeah, so it was most talented, right?
Most talented, yeah.
I think Lamar Jackson's probably the most talented quarterback ever. And I've heard, Stephen A said, I think Dan Orlovsky said it, You've heard many people who aren't Ravens fans say that. Chris Sims, I think, is another one. Steve Young has said it. I will say, like, and I disagree with almost everything Mike Tannenbaum says. Jordan Love is like definitely up there, but to say he's more talented than Lamar, I think their throwing ability, pure talent wise, is pretty similar. And Lamar is one of the best runners we've ever seen. So yeah, it's just like I don't really. I mean, he's probably just trying to get clicks or whatever. I think if you were to not say Jackson, you'd have to say either Mahomes, Allen, or Jaden Daniels. I think Jordan Love is maybe like 4th or 5th on that list of most talented. So,
wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
the whole, it's asked every offseason about how important is it for Lamar to reach a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's just pressure constantly adding. Like if you did it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, that weight's gone, and he probably has reached Super Bowl. It's this weird pressure of everyone is judging you right now on that alone. You have to be in one.
Yeah.
Even if you lose it, it just feels like, you still have that kind of accolade like they would give Burrow. Like, I think it's obviously important. That's the whole goal. But it's so important because we don't know how many more times we can get a fully healthy team. Like the last, if you're talking about the last 3 years, it feels like we've been pretty spoiled with non-super critical injuries.
Last
happening.
2 years.
Yeah. And knock on wood, it feels like it's bound to happen. Like someone very important is lost and really screws up a season where it makes, our confidence that it is right now 100% that we can go to the Super Bowl, it drops it to a quick 50, Yeah,
it's like if I would say besides Lamar, guys you can't lose are like Stanley,
Hamilton,
probably Hamilton, and Marlon Humphrey. Like the Ravens have plenty of depth at corner, but it's like who's going to play in the slot if Humphrey goes down?
Yeah.
I guess if Humphrey goes down, Hamilton would play in the slot, and they'd put Brader Kane back there with Starks. So I'd say Stanley and Hamilton are probably the two guys like you really can't lose with Humphrey as a close third. But yeah, like you said, I've thought about it too. The last 2 years, the Ravens were like extremely healthy, 2023 and 2024. And I will say, everyone forgets that Zay Flowers got injured right before the playoffs last year. Like that did happen. But overall, especially 2023, the Ravens had like no injuries besides Andrews, of course. So, I mean, they have had some injuries, but relatively compared to the rest of the league, they've been very healthy the last 2 years. So you got to hope it continues.
Yeah, that's exactly right, especially this season.
Yeah.
But speaking of, really a whole roster of guys that we mentioned 4 guys, so the rest of the team, Roquan had an awesome quote. There's 20 guys who can play out there. This is probably the most talented defense I've ever been on. There's 20 guys who can play out there. That's what the first part of that quote is. I'm just going to reiterate it. That is sick. That is maybe some confidence. That is the leader talking. But 20 guys saying that this is the most talented defense. It is you can see how much the depth now has changed where everyone is a little more comfortable if someone went down, sadly. So just talking about the secondary in general, if when Ardarius went down, it wasn't the world is over and we're dead. It is, oh, thank goodness we have Starks now.
Yeah.
And then you look at the corners, like you just said, if Humphrey gets some injury, he's out 4-5 weeks. I still feel like the depth at that position is good enough if the rest of them are healthy to win the majority of those games still. That's what I'm thinking. Like everything on the defensive side is so stacked. Like D-line, maybe, the interior is a different discussion, but at least for the rush and stuff, there's not really a guy that if Oweh goes down, we are not all crushed by that.
Yeah.
So we are just right now, we are in a rich situation with the defense, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And like we've talked about, like for example, Awuzie and Alexander, it's like get 17 games out of both of them combined and
Right.
you're fine. And like that should be able to happen. And I guess you could probably throw Roquan in there, but like I think he did miss a game or two last year and the defense was pretty good. I think it was the Chargers game that he might have missed.
Yeah, that's right.
And like
That's
they
right.
were fine out there. But you mentioned the interior D line. If you want to get into the Ravens signing Brent Urban,
Heck
who
yeah.
I think it was yesterday. It was like Zrebeck tweeted like Brent Urban's visiting the Ravens, and I saw someone comment under his post like, "Can you just announce they're signing him?" And he was like, "You are right. Like they're probably going to sign him."
Yeah.
This has been multiple years in a row now. Just a solid depth piece. I mean, I would say my number one concern has been like as of late the interior D line along with the interior O line. And I mean, I was kind of wondering why they hadn't signed Brent Urban yet, but now it's like it looks pretty good. And you still lost Michael Pierce, and there's still not like a replacement there for him, but just knowing that like you have Brent Urban there behind like the starters is still nice. And he's a really good veteran guy. I like on the Ravens Wired, for example, Urban and sadly Michael Pierce, the two of them are always just going crazy
Yeah.
on the bench, like looking at the jumbotron. So Brett Urban's gonna need to find a new partner to.
He will for sure.
He will, but
For
yeah,
sure.
you can't dislike this signing. I mean, there'd be no reason to.
Yeah, organizational favorite, fan favorite, and like you just said, just the person that he is, and really the quality of play you get as a depth kind of guy. It was awesome. And I love that you mentioned some comment about that, because Zrebeck, whenever he said that, I thought it was either him or Hensley. Someone tweeted and said, yeah, he's there visiting, most likely going to be a deal. Like something about that. So I was like, yeah, that's as obvious as it gets. He's not going to go anywhere else. And that's pretty cool. What's another good one? Okay, well, I guess we can talk about it because my position group has to deal with this group. What position group is the most nerve-wracking for you at this point in the offseason? And could have said kicker, but I guess that kind of is gone. With Loop in it. And I think that the most nerve-wracking for me is that I'm not hearing anything of eye-popping quality from the edge rushing group. Like maybe that's a good thing. They're playing as expected and et cetera, et cetera. But I think that them not being in any real conversations, I guess, along with offensive line, neither one of those has been given any credit in a good way or a bad way. And I would have loved a story or two that Mike Green's really showing out here. Nothing like that. Always looking really good. Nothing like that. That's what I guess I'm talking about.
I feel like there was a lot about Mike Green, like his first couple practices. Like, I think he's looked good. And I mean, I don't think you're going to be saying too much about like Van Noy or Oweh. Like they're kind of just like locked in as the starters. I mean, I've seen a lot of good things about Mike Green. So I'm not too concerned. And you got like Tavius Robinson as a fourth guy. Actually, I saw Cordell Woodland on his videos, his post-practice videos. I saw him talking about Adisa Isaac a few times, getting some pressure. So like, if like Adisa Isaac can play well, like you got a really deep edge group.
That's the 20 that Roquan's talking about, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm not too concerned about the edge group in terms of what I am concerned about. And it's cliche to say concerned because like compared to the last offseason, I mean, we did a whole pod this time of the year last offseason talking about the O-line and how concerned we were about it. And it's basically the same O-line going into this year, but we know now that Roger Rosengarten can play. We know that Falele isn't terrible. I don't know, but like
Linderbaum
Stanley.
actually was quoted saying that Falele took it as a challenge, I think, to get in shape. I don't know what that means. Maybe he's, slimmed down, maybe put on some more muscle.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I
His
think
size was what gave him the big advantage, right? Don't you think?
I guess, but like he struggled getting out to like the second level a lot. I mean, he's I think one of the tallest guards ever. He's what, like 6'8" or
Yeah, I
something.
think
So
we've mentioned that. Yeah.
I think I saw a story that he lost like 15 pounds.
Hmm.
So he's still going to be like the biggest guard in the NFL, but maybe like a little more swift out there.
That'd be
Um,
nice. Yeah.
I heard that him and Ben Cleveland were both sort of yoking, vomiting at practice a few days ago. So maybe they need to get a little bit better shape before the season
Conditioning, yeah.
starts.
That
But
was the thing though, that take the Ravens
yeah,
conditioning.
was it
Yeah.
Ben Cleveland like 2 years ago? It took him like a week to pass the conditioning test. Like
I don't remember that.
he
Wow.
didn't practice for like the first week of training camp because he couldn't pass the conditioning test. But like Ronnie Stanley, you feel good about, and like something that I don't think really anyone has talked about is Joe Noteboom. Like that's a really good backup swing tackle.
Yeah.
So like that, settles it a little bit. Like if Rosengarten or Stanley has to miss a few games, I think Noteboom can hold up, and it's not going to be one of those situations where the edge rusher's running around him every single play. So like I feel good about the tackles. Obviously, we feel good about center, and then guards. It's just like Falele is going to start, and I mean Munkin and not Munkin. Munkin has talked about Munkin playing guard would not be good. Munkin has talked about Voorhees and Cleveland like having a good battle in there. So I'm going to trust Munkin, and I guess the best man's going to win, right? So
Sure.
the O-line's going to be better than it was early last year. It just will.
Yeah.
So,
and I would have liked a little upgrade just because we weren't sold on the guards, but I feel comfortable with them, just to go back on what you're saying, just because of the chemistry building over, even in a whole offseason now too. I can appreciate that. Talking about conversations that players and position groups have been given their flowers, we have to mention it because we mention it every time now. Tez Walker having multiple nice days at practice. You and me texted about this, and personally, I'm on the train of not really loving it, not really buying stock. But if it's still happening, it makes me start to tilt my head a little bit. Like, oh. Even Lojohntay Wester, I wanted to mention him. I don't know if I had a note here, but Lojohntay Wester, everyone's been talking very highly of him, not just as a return guy, but as a genuinely good wide receiver for the group.
Yeah, the wide receivers have been good so far, I would say. And Zach, we were texting about Tez Walker. Like, there's been so many times, obviously, in Ravens history where a day 3 receiver is quote unquote turning heads in training camp. Yeah. And luckily, I haven't seen a headline that says Tez Walker's turning heads. Hopefully, we don't see that. But like, you can't deny the videos, right? Like he's catching the ball with his hands. Like you don't always see that from a tall day 3 receiver, right? And he's beating Nate Wiggins one-on-one. I think they had a really, really good matchup 2 years ago in college, and I think Tez Walker kind of won the matchup that game. And like you said, Lojohntay Wester was one of the guys. He was one of my like day 3 gems that I wanted the Ravens to draft, mainly as a punt returner. But I've seen some beat reporters saying he looks really good as a receiver too. So, this is going to be probably a really deep room. And I think Anthony Miller was a guy that, performed well in the Bills divisional game when Bateman was banged up and Flowers was obviously out. He's like the wide receiver 7 right now. So it's looking pretty good in my opinion. And obviously D-Hop is there. So there's a lot of guys I like right now. Dayton Wade's been making plays. So
Yeah. What the heck?
I mean, it's going to be tough. The back end of that receiver room. I mean, are they going to keep 6? Are they going
Rough.
to try to keep 7? Who knows?
Hmm. And perfect little icing on top. This Jaire Alexander stuff. I saw a video of them like it was like Marlon playing Nate Wiggins and ping pong or something.
Yeah.
And just the end of it, Jaire just getting hype with him. It seems like he's fitting in so perfectly. He's talked so highly of the Ravens now. Still, giving love to Packers and everything else. But he said that being with the Ravens, he's been in love. We might have mentioned the last one, but I just wanted to highlight how much fun it looks like they're having with Jaire. So you have any like stuff, maybe just confidence, I guess, in Jaire, like going into it?
Yeah, and like the video of him celebrating with Lamar after Lamar had scored a touchdown on the
Yes. What the
defense.
heck?
Like, it's great to see. And it's funny because I remember him saying at one of his first press conferences after practice, he was like, "Yeah, I thought I was weird, but compared to Marlon, like maybe I'm not so weird." So like those two guys definitely some interesting personalities clashing, maybe not clashing, combining, especially with trash talk. I mean, I think the Ravens low-key needed that. Like Jaire's probably one of the best trash talkers in the league. And Wiggins is a pretty quiet guy. Believe it or not, like Marlon's pretty quiet, like on the field. Like he's not really a trash talker like that. Starks is definitely really quiet on the field. So I think this will add a bit of a swagger in the Ravens secondary. And I talked about this with Sutton and Alex. Jaire at least looks like now, like it's the all-pro Jaire, and he just needs to stay healthy, right? Like I think there's been some talk about, has he actually fallen off physically, or has he just gotten injured a lot? And I think he's just gotten injured a lot. So, I mean, it's probably you have the same Jaire that has been the past couple of years. So, I mean, we've talked about it plenty of times, but like the cornerback room is just insane.
Yeah, it's to have a different perspective. Roquan is like the definition of defensive swagger. Like he's talking so much. He's barking after the freaking games and pressers, talking crazy smack pre-game and in practices leading up. And little like slight little hand of like little quotes that get under the other team's skin.
Yeah.
And finally you have someone to match that energy with Jaire. I mean, that's the definition of that kind of player, and we now have two of them. So to take the edge off of a Marlon or a Starks, maybe even a Hamilton, I guess. Now you get a bona fide trash talker, and that's fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. A comment from Jang: Zay, Bate, D Hop, Tylen, and Tez are top 5 wide receivers. Yeah, that's probably gonna be what it is. I think they probably have to keep Wester as a 6, as long as he looks good returning punts in preseason. It kind of sucks. Is like I wish they could keep 7 because Dayton Wade and Anthony Miller both have been really good in camp. But
yeah,
you're gonna have to hope you can stash them on the practice squad. So 53-man roster is going to be interesting, especially we'll see. They're probably going to try to get an extra spot if they put Likely on short-term IR. So they might be able to keep an extra guy at least for September.
For a little bit, yeah. Also, great quote from Zach Orr. Personally, just seeing Nate Wiggins as a fan, I don't find Nate Wiggins as like this incredibly physically gifted. Zach Orr said Nate Wiggins is one of the most physically gifted DBs he's ever seen.
I mean,
do you think that just means like the ability to get everywhere on the field, like that plus like saying physically, is that also just kind of like the reach? It doesn't sound like that's really a mental thing, but more of just he is straight up born to be an elite corner, that kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, I understand what you mean because he's like 170, and I mean
that's
he's
what
like
I'm saying. Yeah.
He's like 6 feet tall, but he's not like I'd say one of the most physically gifted corners I've ever seen is like Tariq Woolen on the Seahawks. Like he's 6'4", runs a 4.2.
Yeah, what the heck?
Like great on the agility drills. But like Wiggins ran like a 4.24, 4.25, something like that. I think it was 4.28 maybe. And I mean, I think he's going to be one of the best corners in the league, like for at least like a chunk of years, right? And that may start this season. Something I was excited to hear, a quote from Zach Orr a few weeks ago, is that like Wiggins might shadow receivers this year. So let's say the Ravens are playing the Bengals, Wiggins might be shadowing Jamar Chase. So that'd be really cool to see. And like I definitely think he could step up to the plate. Ravens have done a very good job developing their first round corners. At the same time, like I think Wiggins could have played even a little bit more last year. I remember Marlon Humphrey as a rookie in 2017. The Ravens could not cover Antonio Brown. It was like Brandon Carr, like just getting beat by Antonio Brown all game. And like Marlon Humphrey would come in for a few plays because they don't want to, throw him in the fire. And like he would shut down AB. He's like 21 years old. And, I saw similar like fire and competitiveness from Wiggins last year. And I think he's going to be really, really good. So,
yeah, it's fun to think about. I guess what I think, if your secondary is so fully stacked like this, sure, it could start this year of his, hopefully greatness and star-studdedness. But being in a loaded group like that, I mean, I find it a little difficult to see any one of them really shine, I guess.
yeah,
is that weird?
It might be all of them, right? Like,
yeah,
it's
like, I don't know.
Yeah, like if Jaire, Marlon, and Wiggins are all having a really great year, it's not going to be like one of them is getting all of the media attention or whatever.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Jeez.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's also going to be interesting if Jaire does have a really good year. I mean, the Ravens probably aren't going to be able to keep him, but it would be interesting to see if they are able to somehow. Like another sort of story to talk about is like they have a lot of extensions to get done. Hamilton, I think they can extend Flowers after this year. I mean, good thing they got Bateman done. They need to get Likely done eventually.
Yeah.
They did get Derrick Henry done. I think they got to get Linderbaum done soon. Travis Jones, if he has a good year, they're going to have to get him done. A lot of extensions that will need to be completed soon. Under 20 interceptions.
Do you know how many they had last year?
I would say under, definitely not 20. I'm gonna try to find it.
Okay. There's another comment here from Jang. Praying to the football gods that Jaire stays healthy the entire season. I am the same way. I mean, that's the whole thing. If he were to not stay healthy, maybe he's a little cheaper, guys. Or come on. But also, I mean, he definitely deserves to have a fully healthy season. He's such a he's one of the most known corners in the NFL, I think, too.
So, yeah, for sure.
Combined with that and just, how talented he is, he deserves a payday. But, I mean, on the other hand, he's got to prove that he can stay healthy for sure.
The Ravens had 12 interceptions last year. Marlon had 6. Ardarius 2.
I don't know what happened. Is that me or him? Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I don't know what just happened.
The Ravens have had a turnover problem on defense. Am I seeing this correctly? The San Diego Chargers had 49 interceptions in 1961.
So we can get 20. We can get 20.
Let me see. So that is insane.
Come on. All right, I might take over with
49.
I might go over. I might do it.
I think you hope it's around there. Like 12 is not a lot. So I'm going to go under, but I hope it's, 17, 18, 19.
I comment. I say over. Hopefully Kyle's upgraded his hands since Zay said seen better
Oh my
hands on
gosh.
Snake.
And this actually does still kind of suck to talk about because they might have been able to play the Bills in Baltimore, but like Hamilton's drop against the Browns against Jameis, like that
I
was
saw that
like,
on that Warren Sharp that preview. He mentions that. He's like 2 losses were the most ridiculous losses like ever.
yeah.
So
That's like if they can avoid that this year, if they can avoid their 2 dumb losses. I mean, last year that they would have been what they went 12-5 last year. Yeah, they would have been 14-3 if they didn't lose to the Raiders and the Browns. So
you're taking under for sure
for 20 picks?
Yeah.
I'm going to take under until they prove me wrong because the defense has
No, you have
struggled
to
with
take it now. You have to take it now. It's either over or
Okay,
under.
yeah, I'll go under. The defense has
Okay.
struggled with turnovers, but
Yeah.
I
But last year
obviously
felt
hope
so
it's
weird.
over. Yeah,
It was so
I
bad.
cannot
So,
believe that
so
there's
bad.
been 49 interceptions by a team.
So don't you think that we probably would have had 20 just given if we did? All those drops were what, maybe 4? So it wasn't a lot. But how talented this team is, you gotta
So
assume.
only one team had over 20 last year. It was the Vikings with 24.
Wow.
Texans had 19. Packers had 17. Steelers had 17. The Browns had 4 interceptions as a defense.
4? What in the heck? All right. Okay, I feel bad about taking over now, but let's hope that.
But yeah, if
If
they catch the interceptions, they definitely would have had 20 last year. So, but you're bound to drop picks. Everyone's going to drop picks. So,
not as bad as the picks that they were dropping, but yeah, I know what you mean. We had plenty of those where it was like, oh, that was a really good chance, but holy crap! Wish I had the clip to play right now.
Okay, Jang, I hope it's 20. I hope it's 20, but
I hope it's 20 too.
Only one team had over 20 last year. Maybe it'll be the Ravens this year with the best secondary. I mean, they do have the best secondary in the league, so
yeah,
we will see.
Yep.
Any other topics you're thinking about, Zach? Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I was so jealous of you guys talking about your top 3 acquisitions for the offseason.
Oh yeah, let us hear it.
Oh, and I was honestly, whenever you guys were like, oh, either Jaire won or I love the Pagano comment. I was like, that's
Alex
awesome
said Chuck Pagano.
Dude, shoot.
So I said Starks 1, Jaire 2, Mike Green 3, but low key maybe Pagano 3, just because Ravens secondary was terrible last year.
I was the most hyped for Mike Green. I think it's Mike, Jaire, Starks. So I basically flipped those picks with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, that's such a good section there.
Jang, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. I would absolutely love to be wrong. So,
all right.
So what's coming up, Zach? Are we still doing the AFC North preview next week?
Yes, that's coming up. I can get an exact date
in a few days. We're gonna start. Along with continuing the training camp updates, we're gonna do some fun episodes in August, sort of prepping for the season. Yeah, Monday AFC North preview. And then a few weeks later, we
have a guest for that one.
Yeah. A few weeks later, we're going to do game-by-game predictions. Then we'll predict the whole NFL. All this stuff coming up later in August. So
Monday, we'll be there for the live, though, for sure.
Yeah. Monday night, AFC North preview.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah. Appreciate you guys, Chris and Jang. Very active in the chat. I almost said tonight. It's 1 p.m.
Tonight, yeah.
I'm not used to doing daytime episodes.
I know, this is weird, but it's fun.
But yeah.
Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button. We do have memberships now. If you guys want to be a part of it, we're gonna have some exclusive content whenever this actual season starts. You can get in on it early now if you want, or if you want to join whenever the season starts going. It's about that time. Pretty pumped. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be live Monday, AFC North preview with my brother.
With Zach's brother.
What a breaking news. But yeah, we'll see you guys then. Peace out.
Peace out. See you guys.